Yes, good morning, and most importantly, welcome to December. Good December, boss. You still laughing about the elf on the microphone?
You literally put it on like 10 seconds ago, and I'm like, wait, what?
Well, isn't it nice that it's December?
Yes.
Finally, we're here, right?
It's a new month. The sun's out. But sorry, Gareth, it's still December. Sorry to correct you there, but it's still December.
When does it become December?
The 15th of December. Then we are. Let's
I like that.
go.
Toilet time.
Yeah.
I like
it's
it.
time to relax and just party and forget about work and people go back home. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Person Pua had to deal with like a break-in yesterday at her house. So she had to rush off from here and go and sort it out.
Yeah.
And what a pain in the ass. And did the police come?
No, they did not.
See.
You know, and that's the kicker because they're like, don't touch anything, don't move anything. The police need to come, take fingerprints, and you're like, you do know that I need to like fix the butler, fix the door. Like I can't go to bed with things broken, and they didn't arrive. So I was like, fuck them. I'm fixing things. Like I'm moving on with life.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what you have to be totally self-sufficient. I'm
Which
afraid.
is so annoying because I spent most of the day just waiting on the police.
Oh, man.
Where I could have been productive, and I'm like, okay, let's
What an
replace this.
No, it's infuriating. But nobody's hurt or anything.
No, everybody's fine.
What did they steal?
So okay. They took the TV, they took some parts, they took some, you know, they really went pots. And this is what's heartbreaking because they took my grandmother's like 4-set most expensive pot set that she had on display, right? And we only used to use those pots on Christmas Day. So that's oh my gosh, that's my inheritance is gone like that.
Bastards.
Like my grand's like, oh child, this cost me back in my day a good 10,000, and I'm like, Grand,
shame, man.
Like they're gone. Now I have to like replace them, so I'm basically gonna buy myself my own inheritance.
Oh my god.
So
no, that's not cool.
Fun times.
That's not
times.
Cool. But I mean, what kind of people? You know, here we're entering like the festive season, family time. People are, as you say, getting ready for the holidays. We have to put up with this shit, right?
It just reminded me of why next year we must vote. Please go vote, guys. And
so we can put people behind bars who are criminals.
Including
all the politicians.
Yes, one of our names. But what was funny? So this is like funny that made like everyone feel so much better because we thought the break-in only took place at our house, right? And so behind our house there's a farm. So my helper and I were like, let's just check behind the farm to see if they left anything.
Yeah, because that's always what they do is they throw the stuff over the wall and come back and get it later.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
So we just go, chips, and we're walking, and I look at my neighbor's house, and I'm like, the fence looks weird. And so we carry on walking. I'm like, oh no, I think they also broke into our neighbor's yard. So I text the neighbor, and I'm like, yo, dude, like, was there a break-in last night? He's like, wait, what do you mean? We're like, dude, was there a break-in? So we go next door and he's like, no, there's no break-in. He walks out and like only at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon did he notice that like his fence was like bashed. And he's like, yeah, the alarm called, but I thought it was the wind and whatnot and whatnot. Luckily, they didn't take anything from his side, but we were also like, okay, cool. Oh, so we're not the only ones that have to do some December repairing.
Yeah, but that's so shit. Then there's like two houses that have to deal with this now.
Yes.
So Clint from the Val says, put people behind butler bars.
Hey, those things. You think you're safe with those things, can't you? Even
they don't
that.
Help. They don't help.
They don't.
They'll break them off the wall. They'll bend them.
They'll bend them. It's just like, yeah. But also, I also wonder, thieves fascinate me. Because they took weird things. Like you take meat and I'm like, okay, what are you going to do with that? You take the TV, cool, you can sell that. You take the parts.
It's always a TV. The TV is always number one.
That never stays behind. And then they just take random things like glasses. But you don't take all the glasses. You take 4. It's like, wait, what?
Why? Yeah,
why? And then you leave the vases just to take like... what the runner on the table, and we're like, wait, what? So it's also weird how I was okay, clearly I'm not a thief, so I don't know.
No, but I think they'll take just whatever's convenient and lying around and nearby.
Weird.
It is weird, and they don't
like you put in my whole thing. If you I'm not trying to create better criminals, but if you are gonna
that's the point of now.
Yeah, but if you are gonna take the time to break into someone's house, right?
Yeah.
And then also be like, wow, I want the most expensive thing there, or you think that's the most expensive thing, the TV, the pot. I'm also just saying, like, then go to town, like do a proper job, because now it's weird. It's like, oh, there's 4 classes missing.
Yeah, it's so irritating because now you have to go and buy 4 and you're not going to find the same ones maybe.
Yes, and it's just
stupid.
Okay,
dumbasses.
And you went you really went through all this work just to take 3-4 items, but I'm still hurt about the meat as well. Like,
I know that's just so pathetic. Taking someone's meat out of the freezer.
Yeah, like it's just like.
More Rabbit says sorry. That sucks. Yeah, it does. It really fucking does.
Yeah.
Thief is clearly planning to host Christmas by stealing glasses in the table runner, says Zanelle.
Like, I mean, I don't. You see, this is why I'm like, I don't understand thieves, but it's okay. I don't encourage that at all.
Yeah. And Ruth says, hope no one was hurt. My fear is that you can have what you want, just leave the people alone.
Yes.
Yeah, but still. And Tabo says, this is why people buy TVs on Black Friday. They get taken throughout the year. The meat thing makes sense to me. Thieves are hungry and the economy is tanked and they're stealing on an empty stomach. Yeah,
I mean,
you might be right.
Yeah, but also knowing, I stay with my grand. So by the time December hits, we had done the grocery shopping for the month, because we don't like doing, the typical December shopping. So now it's like, let's draw up what did they take? Oh, they took this. We need to. That's the annoying part. Like, in as much as everything can be replaced, it's just annoying that you're going like 10 steps back,
and it's not going. It's yours. It's not someone else's.
Yes.
Leave people's stuff alone,
please. Like,
I had to replace a tire this week. Yeah, and that's not something you want to spend money on, because
your tires are run flat, right?
No.
Oh
no.
Oh, okay.
So I had to replace one because there was like a puncture and I'd left it, and I kept filling it up, and then they did a little patch on it, but it didn't really work. So eventually I was like, I've got to replace this thing, and I couldn't. There wasn't a spare, and it's not a run flat, so I had to pull into wherever was nearest. And I looked at it and I thought, I just better call someone. So I called up these guys, and this is why I'm going to give them credit, because there are good people in the world who can make shit happen. This guy called Reno.
Okay.
I didn't know who he was before this. I called the nearest, I think it was Tiger Wheel and Tire.
Okay.
So I'm going to give them a bit of a mention this morning, because they deserve it. And I said to him, listen, I don't have, I've never been to your shop before or whatever. You're the closest guys. Can you come and help me? Simpiwe, I went into the shop because I thought, well, let me get my groceries and shit done in the meantime. I hadn't even finished shopping, and he called and said, where are you? I was like, what, you kidding? He was already there. It was 15 minutes, maybe. They jacked up the car, took off the wheel. I went with them to the shop. They replaced it, got me a brand new one, put the thing on the rim. We went back, they attached it. It was absolutely
that's fantastic.
First class, and that, to me, those people know what they're doing.
Yes.
They are just, I'm blown away. They are real. And in a situation like that, you don't know what to do. And if I'd had a spare, I would have known what to do with it, because I've put on spare tires before. But this was just a pain. And I'm so glad this guy was there, and he was so quick. And I'm just, pleased that there are people in the world who know what they're up to.
Great.
And can make shit happen.
Customer services.
But
priceless.
4,000 for one tire.
Oh, yes.
And that's not something you budget for.
That's
it happens, right?
That's not a great way to enter the new month as well.
No, it's not my favorite thing. But anyway.
Oh my gosh! But I've heard of tire insurance, right? So where you just insure your tires.
And there are a lot of these guys. I actually got a message. The funniest thing is, I got a message from my insurance about 3 hours after I'd done all of this to say, oh, we got this special thing with tires. It's like,
Ah,
thanks, but too late for that.
Yeah, thanks for listening in and being slow. But what I will say is that like customer service is unmatched. So we have like about like 3-4 garages within a 5K radius.
Yeah.
Right? 2 of the same brand and the other 2 are different brands. And I will say that the one, and I have to also give them a plug, it's the Total Garage in Tlipoki. They have just spoiled us rotten. That garage is always packed. There's always cars, there's people, and the guys just always run to your car. They're always smiling. They like fill it up. They'll be like, "How much do you want?" They'll like wash your windows.
Yeah.
And they do that so fast that you don't even realize that there's been like 3-4 cars back to back. They constantly just like, "Oh, do you need like?" And I think this is also the perks of being a chick. The moment I need to exit the car and take out the gas, they're like, "Oh no, don't move. We got this." And then they're running and they're like, "What do you need? Are you paying for this? We'll bring the card machine to you."
See, I love that.
Oh, they're so efficient.
This morning, same thing happened. So I went to the little garage up the road from us here. And they were like in such a good mood, and they've got a bakery in there and everything. And I usually buy coffee for Pumi and I thought, well, I'm early because I was gonna. Otherwise, I would have been in here at like 5:15. So I'm like, nah, let me go and get a coffee. So the one guy behind the counter is like, "Oh, sorry, am I being loud?" I'm like, "No, I don't mind this at all."
Yes.
Like, what kind of grumpy person on the 1st of December is going to be telling people, "Hey, you're making a noise"? First thing in the morning, you want people who've got energy around you, right?
You do. And they're just like,
and they were all so happy. And this woman, so the woman behind the counter who's actually ringing up the bill for me, she says, "Oh, this guy's so happy." So I said, "But that's better than the alternative." And he's like, "Yeah, have a nice day." And he's so full of good energy. And
I love it.
What an awesome guy. For all we know, he has huge problems that he's not talking about this morning, that he's dancing behind the till. He's like having a party. He's shouting at everybody in the shop. Awesome. I love it too.
Must never behave like your problems. Never look like your problems and never behave like your
that is, we're waiting for a theme for this December. You must never look like and behave like your problems.
Please,
I think
guys.
that's good. That's very good. So a couple of people here. Rebellious Ruth says tires are puss expensive, but we should get a tax rebate with the condition of our roads. Absolutely.
Oh, the amount of dodging that you do for potholes.
Oh no! So I mean, I haven't had to replace a tire for a long, long time, and I used to go through them like a dose of salts because I used to drive badly. I'll admit it. But now with the roads the way they are, you're playing like it's a video game the whole time, right? And
didn't see that.
You actually go. I drive slower than I've ever driven on roads that I know, just because you got to look out for those things.
Yes.
Anyway, Matthew says, if you can't put on a tie, you're on a real man. I do agree with that, Matthew. I think that's about right. If that's, if that's the low end of like what it takes to be a man, I'm all for it. I'm here for that. Lubabalo says the app isn't working. Ooh. Yeah, we for some reason we've got some serious internet problems this morning. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe it's just the start of a new month or something. Something's not good. But yes, it is officially December now, and that means you can start getting your Christmas music on.
Yes.
I'm ready for that too. I love me some Christmas music. So I will forgive anybody who spends a little less time listening to us in December and a little more time listening to Christmas music.
Of course.
Because that's what I do.
Mariah Carey needs to make money.
Yeah, I put most of those political podcasts and things that I listen to, and even the stuff that I really love, the history stuff, and I put that on hold. In December, I'm like, nah, let's stick to the music.
Yes.
That's what it's this time of year. That's what I'm going to do.
The only people I love listening to is Mariah Carey and Michael Bublé. Like those people defrost in December, and I'm just like, yes, because all I want for Christmas is you.
So Pumi and I were singing a song yesterday on the show, and YouTube actually flagged us for copyright. So we must have done a damn fine job. I got an email yesterday, like 11 o'clock in the morning. Oh, you have a copyright infringement. I'm like, we didn't play any music on the show. And then I realized we'd sung a song.
So the technology is that advanced now that...
Or we're that good at singing.
I'll say technology is that advanced now.
I'm gonna take my version. Sorry.
Whatever puts a smile on your face, Gareth.
So here's something interesting. If you've got an old Google account that you've not used for a couple of years, it could soon be deleted. That's
Okay.
interesting. The tech giant is going to be getting rid of them starting from Friday, that's today, under its inactive account policy. Company said it would take a phased approach, starting with accounts that were created and never used again. Simply
Yeah.
signing into an account or sending an email should be enough to keep it active. Google said that the change was because of security reasons, highlighting that forgotten and unused accounts are more likely to be compromised. I probably have 2 or 3 accounts that I don't use anymore that I don't even know the password for on Google. Because
I
when it
know.
first started, I remember I had, this is how old I am, I had a Hotmail account
Ooh,
once.
accurate.
And then, and then as soon as
Hotmail.
Google Gmail came out, everybody was on Gmail. So I got a Gmail account. Then I got another one because I couldn't remember the password for that one. So I'm sure there were 1 or 2 that are closed down along the way.
I know why they really do this. They must just speak the truth, okay? It's for all these people, you know, when you sign up to things and they're like, this is the trial version, or
Yeah.
like Netflix, and then they create like different like,
Aliases.
email addresses,
Yeah.
just so that they can continue. But you never use that email. This is
That's
for
what
those
it is.
people, and I'm saying,
Yeah.
yes,
No,
it's about time.
I think you're right. Shut these people down.
Like you can't be enjoying free things based off the fact that you've created Gareth Cliff at Gmail 1,
Right.
Gareth Cliff at
Yeah.
Gmail 2.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, that's
Please
it. You're
stop.
right. It's for all the free trials.
Yes.
Master G says, Matthew Dixon, stop nonsense, sir. I am a man, but I can't change a tire, lol. I will never own a car as I'm too cool to own something that depreciates. Okay.
All
Master
right.
G is very, very sharp. I just think in South Africa, that's a fine way to think. But if you're relying on public transport or on taxis or on Ubers, or you're going to be paying tons of money. South Africans, I think I think it's half the amount of money that most people who are only earning 6,000 to 8,000 rand a month.
Mm-hmm.
Half of their money, at least, and sometimes more, goes to transport.
Yeah.
And it's not like we have cities that have infrastructure. You can hop on, underground trains or buses, or that's a disaster. So in other words, you have to cover big distances, which means you can't walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you live in New York or you live in London, you could walk around, especially in the inner city. Once you get there via train or underground or whatever, then you could walk around to where you need to be. That's not the case here. If you are on the West Rand and you need to get to the East Rand, there's no way for you to get there with public transport. It's going to take you forever.
It takes like a good 3 hours for like a 40-minute drive.
Correct.
And I will say this. You know, when they built the Gautrain station in Sandton, and then like a few months later, the taxi guys had invaded. I was like, this is great. They're going to be inspired to keep the place clean. They're going to keep their taxis up to par.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Forget about it.
It's a typical taxi rank. And then right next door is the Gautrain station, which looks the complete opposite. And it's kind of like it tells you that, taxi drivers really don't care. Or let me say taxi owners don't care. Like they could be in the most loneliest places, but when you get into that 4 Masihlalisane, your life is in danger. So
yeah. Does someone want to start the app maybe, says Airplanes. That's a great name, by the way, Airplanes. But we do have some kind of a problem with our streaming this morning. I'm not sure what it is. All I can say is like hop on the YouTube. If, that's where you'd be listening to us now if there's something wrong with the app, but we're trying to sort it out. Okay, Gareth, you did a great take on what Elon Musk had to say. I agree. Good for him. They can HFTS. There's a lot of talk around what Elon said in that interview with MSNBC.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a huge amount. I think it was the trending thing, not that I'm paying attention to that usually.
Yes.
On Twitter and everything X yesterday. And I saw a really interesting update to that story. Someone sent me an article about how hundreds of thousands and probably by now millions of people have canceled their Disney subscriptions.
Yes.
Because Elon called out Bob Iger by name during that interview because they were one of the companies that said, we don't know if we feel comfortable. When people use words like, I don't feel comfortable, you just know they're full of shit. We don't feel comfortable advertising on X because Elon has a couple of opinions that hurt our feelings. So that's why he said you can,
take the
go fuck yourself. So people were canceling their Disney subscriptions en masse yesterday, which is very interesting because you see, the very people who will use economic tools and commercial tools like, oh, we're going to cancel our advertising. You can use the same strategy on them because you can cancel your subscription.
Yes.
Which is what people are doing. So they're saying, okay, if you're going to be using woke corporations to force down all kinds of ideas on us as the buying public that we don't like, then equally, as much as you're going to punish Elon Musk and what he's doing on X, we can punish you as well. Who do you think you are? And then, of course, all these corporations go, but where? Poor us. And you're like, poor you? Disney's been making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. By the way, Wish, their latest movie, is a complete disaster.
Oh.
It made like $19 million on opening box office weekend, which was the Thanksgiving weekend. That's like a record. It's a record low for Disney.
It's pathetic.
They haven't had, and they also brought out The Marvels or something the other day, which was apparently
it went shukagoo
disaster as well. So Disney, you deserve everything that's coming to you. And if you're a business and you get involved in politics, and by getting involved in politics, I don't mean you take a stand, because that would be admirable. What I mean is you go along with whatever the
trends are,
the internet tells you to go along with. Then you get what you deserve. And Patrick says it in a much more succinct way: go woke, go broke. That's exactly what's starting to happen. We all saw that Bud Light thing when it happened.
Yeah.
We're now seeing it with Disney. And Disney isn't doing what it used to do, because it used to make shows that kids, mostly kids.
Yeah.
Disney was a kids thing.
Yes.
Made shows that kids loved. And now you have your kids brainwashed if they're watching Disney. You know, Disney share price down 20% in 5 years. Good. Go woke, go broke. Disney bombs harder than the IDF.
But I wonder how long this is going to last as well. Like, I wish someone could do a study on this, because people forget, you know, after 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days, they're like, oh, I miss this, and they go back, right? And it's always interesting to see the aftermath of it, not just like in the heat of the moment of, oh yeah, it's gone down 20%. Yeah, but let's see this again in 6 months' time, because that will tell you who really actually pulled out of Disney. And most of the time, it's not the people that you think it is. It's not us. We are very like, oh, I missed this, I'll go back, I forgot that they did that. It's the other companies and the shareholders that actually
no, I mean, I think that this is a real thing. I think that in society now, people attach so much importance to these kinds of cultural issues because we realize that politics comes from culture. And people want to stand up for what they believe in, because they see everywhere around them corporations, media personalities, media outlets are all just full of shit. They're all like, as Elon said again yesterday, and I'm not a hero worshiper of Elon's like Ryan is, but
thinks he's Jesus.
Thinks he's Jesus. But I understand why people are so impressed with him, and I get it, because he's one of the few people who's saying things that are true. He said yesterday, for example, and this is something that's ringing in my ears. I mentioned it with Pumi yesterday, but he said he's getting sick to death of people who want to look good, but they're doing evil.
Yeah.
Right? And you see this all over the internet all the time. You see truly awful people posting these inspirational quotes and, you know, posting pictures of themselves at a soup kitchen helping some orphan. But you know that in real life, that person is a complete shit. They're not interested in helping anybody else. They will do anything it takes to get ahead. They will trample over dead bodies to get to where they want to get. They have no love or respect for anyone else in their life. They're a terrible dad or mom or brother or sister, or they're awful people. But then they present themselves on the internet as being these truly good people. And that's what he was saying he can't stand. Elon's like, I don't want to be in a world where fake performative shit, and it's mostly the politicians who do this. And we're on No Politics Friday, so we're not going to go down that street. But what he said is he doesn't want to live in a world where these people who are constantly looking for attention get the attention by pretending to be good, but they're doing horrible things.
Yeah, but
Right?
all I'm saying is people forget. And I'll give you like 2 examples of this. There was the Balenciaga saga where they had like kids on and they
Yeah.
bondage and whatnot. And the public was outraged. And then they were like, we boycotting this. Celebrities didn't really go out and speak. And then a couple of months later, it was back to normal. So yes, they felt like a bit of a hit, but like a few months later,
Everything was normal.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
No, I do think that happens.
And then there was that H&M saga where people were like, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, but you see, this is true for everything. So even on the opposite side of things, when the outrage mob comes after a company, as has happened in this country with like shampoo, it takes 7 days and people forget about it and they move on. So it is not worth getting upset about a trend on the internet.
Yeah.
And companies have to grow some balls and stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
Stand up for yourself or shut up and hope that they don't come after you, but eventually they will. Ben is here. Speaking of people who will come after you.
Hello.
With great gusto. Sorry, can you turn the headphones down just a touch?
All right.
Yeah, when you said my name, then my brain said me exploded.
Ben.
How's that?
Yeah, great.
Is that
Awesome.
better?
Nice.
Right, very good.
Hey guys, happy Friday.
All right.
Happy
Happy
December.
December. Very nice. And tomorrow's Ben's birthday.
I know.
Oh, you're
42.
December,
Yes.
baby. Oh my gosh. What are you doing?
42, huh?
42.
What are we doing for the big 42?
Gonna wake up. Gonna go, oh, my
You're going to
aching
wake
back.
up, huh?
Yeah. I'm gonna lament
I like how
my
that's a
my
goal.
back
Like you guys
injuries.
first have to wake up.
I'm gonna wake up and stretch. I'm gonna do some yoga
Which
poses.
stretches do you do? Those old man ones
All
like
of them.
this?
All of them. And then I'm going to go play golf with some friends.
Nice.
And then
That's an old man thing to do.
42.
But you've been doing that for years.
Exactly. And then
Ben is the oldest 42-year-old I've ever met in my life. And I said that about him at 32.
yeah, I'll take that as a compliment.
And I said that about him at 22. So
Yeah, so golf, and then Daniela is taking me to the spa.
Ooh.
See, because I need obviously after the golf. I'm
Ooh,
gonna be
that's
sore.
nice.
yeah. Everything's based
Grown up.
around everything
You're
that
grown up.
grown up and a grown-up because everything's basically around his inability to move the way he used to.
Yeah, and then after that, she's going to spoon feed me through a purifier at a restaurant.
Okay, so if I seem to be taking more joy than usual out of this, it's because I said to Ben the other day, I had like this sore, like sciatica type lower back leg thing for like a month and a half. And when it was eventually gone, which was only about a week ago, I felt like a new man. And I'm excited for January because I'm not drinking from January.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm like properly excited about it because
Nice.
anything that'll
Lavish.
make you feel better, I'm all for, right? And when Ben talks about like, and he's in good shape and he looks after himself and he doesn't eat bullshit and he does cold plunges and you know, all that sort of shit. If he is like
Sprinting,
creaky,
like-
if he's creaky, then I'm like, all right, well, I don't feel so bad then.
That's
I'm
natural.
not that far behind.
But so in the last 2 weeks, I've been having bone broth with collagen. That's helped a little bit.
Isn't that?
Okay.
That's not a nice.
Is
it
it
a nice
yummy?
tasting thing?
Is it
Gareth, life's not a kid's party. I'm not here for nice tasting.
No, but
Okay,
I
so
want to
it's
feel
clearly
better.
not.
Just the words bone broth sounds like something
really not so
Vikings
bad.
used to have.
It's really not so bad. Because I mean, I'll take any small increment I can to alleviate the pain, and
All right.
then obviously try to have less inflammation. So that's why I don't drink as much.
Okay.
It's just
So
the sugar that gets me.
We do. I know there are people who come and listen to the show just to hear your kind of tips on staying healthier for longer.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all for it, even if it's
Yeah.
bone broth.
And now I don't really feel I don't fear the age. It's just the next chapter and like being as awesome as you can be. And yes, you've got to have roadworks essentially.
Someone said to me when I turned 40, this is one of the best decades you could possibly have, better than 30 and 20. I don't know about from here on in, because people will tell you hear different feedback from everybody. But I think the 40s are fan. You got still a long way to go, Simpiwe. But
Yeah, like
you've
Dory
got-
just turned 50 the other day.
I
You were like
know.
turning 42. Oh, I'm surrounded by
you know
old
what it
people,
is?
guys.
It's
Oh.
like you hit this kind of golden zone where you finally have accumulated enough life experience and wisdom to not be bothered by the small things and not be too perturbed about other people's opinion of you and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Plus, you know what you're good at and you know what you're not. So you know yourself a bit better.
Mhm.
And knowing yourself is like 3/4 of the battle, right?
Yes.
And you still have physical vitality. So you still have the energy to do new things and to extend yourself a little bit further than you haven't before and do challenging stuff physically. And that's sort of a golden zone. I think it becomes difficult once your body starts to go downhill, which is exactly why we should be doing the things that Ben does.
This is exactly, you're describing my absolute reason for being in shape.
Okay. I didn't know that, but there we go.
Because I want my 40s to last for 30 years.
Right.
Okay.
Seriously, that's what it is.
You can do that.
If you can hang on to your weight, hang on to your hair, hang on to your humor, and have more money. Like,
there we go.
That's how you be the best
guy. 4
guy.
things. That's it. I like that. So here is something to inspire you, like that guy in the garage did with me this morning, because he was happy and shouting and laughing and dancing. I thought, what a he's an example to the rest of us, especially those glum, sad sacks of shit who you see in their cars looking like, face like a smacked ass, just
drinking a Monster.
You could see like the steam coming out of their ears, and they're getting cross about everything, and be like this guy in the garage. But this is truly inspiring. So I woke up this morning, I'm scrolling through Instagram. For some bizarre reason, this video comes up. It's from the 70s. I don't know what the show is. It must be some sort of TV show. Take note of the following. First of all, everyone is dressed in all the colors.
Okay, I love
so
it.
that's something you don't see on TV anymore. Everyone is all in black or all in white, all in gray. Everything's become very monotone. Ugh. And it's because someone somewhere said, if you want to be professional on television, you have to wear this. Right? That's what so now everyone looks the same on TV. Also, they're all smiling and genuinely happy. Ooh. I can't tell whether some of them are men or women, so there's no like gender issues. They're all just getting along. Sure. They're all dancing their hearts out, which I love. And it seems like they had some ideas in the 70s, and we've gone backwards from some of those ideas. I wouldn't say all of them, because the 70s wasn't perfect decade by any stretch of the imagination. But let us not forget how much fun it looks like they were having. And maybe they were all high or drunk, who knows? But it certainly looks like a whole lot more fun than most of the stuff you'll see on TV now. And why not wake up to this shit this morning? Gotta love the outfits, right? Look at how happy these people are. Look at the guy who's in charge of the show. He's wearing this terrible blue suit. Like it's a light blue suit, and he's just grooving. He's just having a time.
He's just having a time.
And there's black people and white people, and the one chick I think has a mustache. Who knows? But they're all happy, and they're being real. They don't give a shit.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
That's nice. I like seeing that. And the music's terrible, but what can we say?
0 victims on stage.
No, 0. And they're all just living their best version of themselves, their best life, as the millennials used to say. I don't know if that's still a thing that they say.
No, still a thing.
They still say that, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So a few things we need to talk about this morning. Do you use a humidifier? Ben wants to know. And should we all be using one?
I don't.
I feel like I'm late on this.
Well,
I
don't you usually have to have a humidifier in winter, not in summer? Because there's enough humidity in the air. I mean, we've had...
In Joburg, because it's dry, yeah.
Yeah, but summer's fine in Joburg. I mean, we've got high levels of humidity here. You don't need it in summer.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because I've been trying to nurse Meows's back to health. And she's had these bad sinus issues and congestion. So at the vet, they were nebulizing her. Quite a funny thought of a little mask on a cat.
She got like an asthma pump.
Yeah. So then I was looking at this, and then I started reading about humidifiers because I want to give the best thing for my cats. And I went to Discam, and I was like rummaging through this thing. I was having this conversation with this guy. So I said to him, okay, this over here, I need to put onto a cat's face. Have you got a smaller mask? And he just thought, this fucking guy.
He's taking the piss.
I didn't get paid enough for this kind of wise ass to come in here and ask me if this nebulizer can go on a cat.
Oh, that's so good.
I see you've got a child adaptation of this one. Do you think it's small enough for a cat? And then the guy doesn't care. He's like, look, dude, I don't know if you can use this on a dog. I said, no, I said cat. He's like...
I love it. Really.
So eventually...
People get it wrong.
You've got a cat nebulizer mask.
No, so I didn't think it was going to work.
Because you won't be able to keep that on the cat.
So eventually what happened was I then got like what looked like quite a generic steamer, right?
Mm.
So I then took and like a litter box. You get one of those enclosed litter boxes,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
and then I put the humidifier at the back of that because Daniela thought that this would be a great thing to create like an ozone chamber. And then Pop Mouse is in there. She's in this little like hot box basally of great air.
But then Meows's is old, and as I said to you
Yeah,
on
she's-
Tuesday when you were here for the braai, sometimes you got to do what Leanne had to do with her cat who was
No, I mean,
poorly.
but
you
yeah,
know,
but Meows's is an absolute champion. So she's bounced
No.
back. Seriously, 2 days of this little
Of the
ozone
nebulizer.
humidifier nebulizer makeshift thing that I built
For the dog.
for the cat. And she is now, I mean, she's so much better. She literally in 2 days, I know antibiotics have a role to play here as well. So then I was just thinking, like, maybe I've missed out on this whole thing. Maybe I also need a humidifier because sometimes I feel a bit congested and a bit low. She's a 20-year-old cat who's now, she's back at it.
I can tell you now, I don't have that, so I
I don't
cannot
have- I
speak
did-
on it.
So I did buy one a couple of years ago, and I had it in my bedroom because at night, you sometimes wake up in the morning. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the longest you spend in any one room in your house,
Yeah.
usually. And while you're sleeping, especially in winter, it does get a bit dry. I don't have air conditioning or any of that stuff, but I mean that would make it worse.
Yes.
But I tried it it didn't make any noticeable difference to me. Maybe it was a shitty humidifier. There are a lot of other factors that can come into it, but
I just feel like, when the air
It's a
fryer
waste of money.
came out, everybody wanted an air fryer.
I
And then
know.
I know there was a humidifier craze, and I just
Yeah.
didn't care about it. And so anyway, I just thought this was one of those things.
Yeah.
Some people would swear by it or not.
well,
miracle.
clearly also the
well, Carlos says this is interesting. Air purifier is what you need. I don't think a humidifier and a nebulizer have the same effect, but I've also tried one of those once.
and
Again, I don't know if it made a difference.
okay.
It didn't make me feel like a whole lot. Like, imagine if you woke up in the morning and you were like, Jesus, I feel like I've had the best sleep ever. Every morning that you had the air purifier on,
Yeah.
you'd think, well, this is amazing. It's like a lot of stuff, tiny little incremental benefits, and hardly shows up on any data,
Okay.
right? So you don't know whether you're wasting your time or not.
Mm.
I don't know. I really don't know. Well done, Ben, says Sunmarie. I love that the cat gets all the love.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do we now branch out and start making cat ozone boxes?
No, there's a business opportunity
So,
for you because cat owners are crazy enough to buy this shit.
I know they are, but then the people, especially who have those pedigree breeds, who
Yeah.
often have like dodgy
Yes,
sinuses because of breeding,
yes. Mhm.
I can then sort of shoehorn this in and go
Yes.
sinuses,
Ben, I
Yeah.
think this is a great business
paw
opportunity.
zone.
Paw zone.
Love it.
Do it.
So you've got like a paw, and then you've got like a cat in an astronaut suit as the logo. I mean,
You see, you're a marketing genius.
while I'm keeping Mouses in here so she can get 5 minutes of this stuff, I'm thinking about this thing.
This is very clever. This is why you are good at what you do.
Save all the cats.
Mhm.
Save the cats.
So I need to get like a veterinary partner going here to like 9 out of 10 vets say the paw zone is the
right, and you need a couple of vets on side.
No, you
it
can
is.
buy vets.
You can
don't
sell them
worry.
at the vet stores
Yes.
because most of the vets sell the food and all that stuff.
Oh,
in there.
yes,
You
definitely.
can sell this in the front there, and it would get
And then you partner
prime-
up with like what's this pet insurance and
those
and then
people.
they sell that as well.
Right.
endorsed by pet insurance because you're healthier cats.
Because it's all about moving product.
Yes.
It is. It's absolutely
Yeah.
that.
I'd like 5%. Thank you. Just
So-
for helping you. Thank you.
So here's Peter wants to know bone broth, nebulizer, cold plunges. I'm in my late 60s and I need some advice.
Wow.
Going on a motorbike rally this weekend. Our generation
Woo.
lived, not messing about with shit. Okay, so do you have anything to add to Peter's list there, Ben? He's in his 60s.
Yeah, Peter. I mean, like, I need to know more about your life, but essentially, these are all good things to add onto it. But they're not going to, like Gareth just said, the small little increments. It's not going to suddenly change your life. Like, oh my gosh,
There's no magic cure. There's no pill you can take and
Mhm.
suddenly you'll feel a million times better. That's not going to happen.
You've got to think of it like investing on a pretty average salary. You're not suddenly going to get rich in like the first couple of days by saving a bit here and there. But
No.
over 20, 30 years, you'll have something to show for it.
I'm sorry, I've got that.
So do I.
Stuck in my
Constantly.
head.
I know. And plus, I'm hearing trumpets in that guy's blue suit. It's like engraved in my mind.
Oh shit. Okay. Haven't you got it in your head?
No.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
You skipped that one. All I'm hearing now is prom, 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 prom.
Okay, so
from
we've
the 70s.
so apparently I'm new to this. Unfortunately, there's already an existing oxygen tank for recovery in the vet field.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's an oxygen tank. That's not what Ben's talking about. He's talking about creating an ozone chamber.
For home use.
Yes.
Where you just press one button.
Okay.
Yes.
so you're refining the idea.
Package the
Even
experience.
more.
That's very good. Sanele says, let's find out if Lebang Khosana is as crazy about the humidifiers as she is about the air fryer. That's how we decide we shouldn't use it.
Good point.
Poor Lebang, she gets a lot of heat for being scammed all the time, but it does happen. It does happen.
Wait.
And falling into trends, and she bought like air fryer, and she does everything in the air fryer. I gave that air fryer, I donated it to the kitchen here.
And you have used it
Never been used.
once. I think once at most.
Whatever.
But since we're talking about scams, right?
Yes.
I am so glad. I love Lebang, but I'm also glad that she does not have like millions just to spend.
She'd be taken around every corner. She'd basically be donating all of her money.
Because I think this particular scam she would have fell for.
What's this?
Hook, line, and
What?
So you guys have been on cruises, right?
Yes.
Enjoyed it?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
Not yet.
I just live vicariously through Gareth's.
Yes.
So Ben, this might have enticed you, but Gareth, you've been on cruises before. And so there was this company that advertised a 3-year cruise.
Mhm.
And they're like, yeah,
Go away for 3 years.
3 years on this cruise. It was going to cost like 300 and something.
Forget how much it costs. Who can afford to be away from home or work?
Old people.
Old people,
Yeah,
This
very
is-
old
this is an
retired
absolute
people.
old
Yeah.
So
people
this-
thing.
right?
Yeah.
And you're going to travel the world in 3 years. So forget about doing the world in 80 days. You're going to do it in 3 years, right?
Mhm.
Sounds
I
good.
mean,
All expenses paid. So you won't have to pay for anything once you paid for your ticket for 3 years. That sounds golden. That sounds
Sure. All your food on the cruise is paid for, your
I mean,
drinks, your
come on now.
accommodation. I mean, listen, there are people who have very successfully been able to live on cruise ships for up to a few months, but I think it gets a bit cabin feverish because you're literally in a cabin.
well, but when you are so old that you need someone to look after you
That's
and
also true.
have a nappy
It's
on.
cheaper than an old age home
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
think about it.
That's what it is.
And you get to see different places.
It's an exotic old age home.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys are loving this idea, right? You guys
Yes.
are like, sure,
Sure.
sign me up. And that's what, like, over 100 people, yeah, I think over 100 people signed up, they paid, they're ready to go, they got the dates. And then, like, a few weeks before they were supposed to depart, they're like, no, we have to move,
Mm.
So they moved it about 3 times. And people are like, like, we need to go. Like, my
Uh-oh.
holiday needs to start. Just to find out that this company that
Mhm.
actually advertised this cruise doesn't own a boat.
Oh boy.
Firefest Cruises.
Yeah.
So
Fire
basically,
What's the place called? Fire Festival. What is it?
yeah, it was
Fire-
Firefest.
Firefest. That's right.
But basically, they were banking on people buying tickets, and then with the money that they got from the tickets to actually purchase the boat.
Mm.
But they got outbid by another company. So now there's no boat.
Oh, Lebang would have definitely.
That's what
thought
I'm
that.
saying.
If
That
she
this-
had, if she had
the
like
money,
tons of
she
money
was gonna
lying
be
around,
gone.
she would be taken. Honestly, I think it's very mean the way people drag her into every conspiracy theory and every scam, but she kind of does.
I was
does
like,
it
she
to
would
herself.
have, she
Yeah.
would have just really like fallen for this one.
Yes.
But yeah, there's some people out there now that for the next 3 years they have to be stuck in the same place. They've paid
Oh.
this money.
And
Of
no-
course, they're
no-
saying they're
and-
gonna refund them, but
and no cruise.
there's no cruise happening. There's no boat, guys.
There is no
There's no
money to
boat.
be paid. We cannot pay back the money.
It's such
There
a
is no
ballsy
money.
thing.
You have to be such a listen. Forget about the people who get taken by the scam because I kind of feel sorry for them. Maybe they're just gullible, whatever.
Sure.
But the people who do this,
Mhm.
how do you sleep at night knowing you've ripped off all those people? You've just
Mm.
taken their money away. It's just disgusting.
It really
Let's get into some sport, shall we?
Yes.
It's time for Beyond the Scoreboard with Ben Karpinski. It's powered by Superbets and they support responsible gambling. You need to know this. Why? Because if you gamble and you win, it's great. But winners know when to stop. Isn't that right, Ben?
Incredibly so, Gareth. Yes.
Yeah. Strictly no under 18s. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation's toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008. Let's get into it. What do you have for us this morning?
So, Cricket World Cup we just had, of course, India versus Australia. Australia broke the hearts of the nation.
Yes.
It's a lot of hearts.
And my
India's a
heart,
big
because
nation.
I bet on India. They broke my heart. They broke my heart.
It broke your heart. And it was a massive upset. It really was.
Oh.
But then by some cruel or clever twist of fate, they made Australia stay there longer to play a 5-match T20 series there. So it's like, we're going to get you guys. We're going to get you. You won the big things. Now we're just going to try hurt you. And they did. They were 2-0 up in this T20 series. But then Glenn Maxwell came back and said, oh, I'm still pretty good at this game. And he scored 100 in the third one. So now it's 2-1. 2 games to go in the 5-match series. So if you like a bit of T20 and if you like a bit of India versus Australia, then this is the weekend for you. So I know December sort of like tones down a bit in the sporting action, but blockbuster cricket straight away.
Not true. There's always famously a Boxing Day test match somewhere.
Winds down. I mean, sure, we've got a little bit of cricket here and there. We haven't got like the huge events like the rest of the year.
No,
I think like middle of the year, European summer, that's where we got the best. I mean, the Formula One's now finished. Verstappen has won all the points.
All the points.
And now they're going to go into preseason testing where they're all going to see if they can eke jet fuel into their cars. I don't see how they're going to win otherwise. But yeah, it's a big month for cricket, of course, because India, after playing Australia and hopefully getting revenge against them, are then going to come here to South Africa, which is great. And there are matches all over the place. So wherever you live, sorry, Bloemfontein, you guys always get left out. But there are matches in many parts of the country. So yeah, get onto, I think it's Ticket Pros. You can get all the tickets through, but make some plans now because going to cricket is obviously fun. It's a great thing to do in South Africa because it's hot and you can braai and you can drink beer. And it's actually one of those more affordable kind of days out and not the worst first date option either. If you like sports,
that's a good idea.
It's more engaging than going to a movie.
Sure.
If you think about it that way, you get to drink, you get to look around, you're essentially having like a dinner/lunch date. So don't poo-poo cricket because you don't like it.
And there's live action happening. So if you've got a boring date, it distracts you from each other.
And there's lots of people around. So if your date's really terrible, you can maybe even find another one.
A different one.
So never discredit.
Yes, exactly.
Never discredit how good cricket is in this country.
There we go.
All right. Okay, on to some slightly steamier action. Somehow Arsenal seem to be top of the log. I think that's just because everyone else is having a draw or they're playing in Europe or whatever. But anyway, Premier League this weekend, Arsenal take on Wolves at 5. Then Newcastle versus Man United at 10. That's Saturday. And then Sunday, we've got Chelsea versus Brighton at 4, Liverpool versus Fulham at 4. And then match of the weekend, Man City versus Spurs at 6:30. Spurs rocketed to the top of the league and then they sort of lost a few games. And now everyone just thinks that they're Spurs again. But still, this is a big game to play for. I know Spurs have had some injuries. Man City are Man City. They had a good win in the week over Leipzig, I think it was, in the Champions League. So that's a big game for the weekend there. And then United Rugby Championship. Now, this is something it's almost like that sporting cliche of a game of two halves. Our teams early season, not with all our box, go to the Northern Hemisphere. They shiver their nuts off and lose to these teams. Then they come over here and it's a whole can of whoop ass. I mean, we saw big scores last week. Even the Lions were clapping these Oaks by more than 50. So we've got 3 big games to worry about on home soil, which is great because that's obviously prime time for us here. Saturday, Bulls versus Sharks. We've got the big first local derby for the URC this season at Loftus.
Yes. In fact, Matthew in the comments says, big game at Loftus.
Game.
He couldn't wait to talk about it. It's a big rugby game at Loftus this weekend.
Absolutely monstrous game. Further down, other side of the Oxgate, the Lions take on the Dragons, who are, of course, Welsh. So they'll be at 5 o'clock. And then the Stormers will take on the Zebre. So if you are new to sort of sport betting or playing or just rugby betting, I reckon a nice fun thing to do for the weekend, because we're all here to play and have fun, is you take the Bulls, the Lions, the Stormers on a little multiplier. The odds aren't going to be incredible because they're all obviously favorites. But then you have this tethered kind of interest in all 3 games over the Saturday.
Rope you into every moment of every game.
Amazing. So I would back the Bulls because they have been SA's best team so far. The Sharks are coming back with a vengeance. So that game's actually going to be pretty tight. That Sharks backline, we all know it's incredibly dangerous. The Lions against the Dragons. I mean, if you're from Wales and someone takes you to Hillbrow, you're probably going to shit yourself. Take you to Hillbrow and play rugby. I don't care how good you are at rugby. There's a lot of primal fear happening here. So yes, the Lions might not be the best team.
Especially arriving and leaving from the stadium.
Yes,
exactly. It's very scary.
Exactly.
Hillbrow.
And then Stormers versus the Zebre. I mean, it's not the best Italian team. The Stormers are a good team. And it's December in Cape Town. Okay, so I would
go wrong.
If you want to have a little play this weekend, that's it. And then there is so much golf this weekend, pretty much across the world. We've got the Australian Open, so that's on the far side in the future, in the east. Yes. Then we've got the SA Open, which is obviously here in South Africa, Play Athol, which is one of my favorite places to be in the country, let alone golf-wise. And then you got the Hero World Championship in Bermuda, which is Tiger's tournament. So Tiger's back. And I know this is one of those phrases which you hear too much in golf, but Tiger goes up and down, world's best, then the hose unravel him, then he keeps crash,
us guessing. He keeps us guessing.
Almost loses a leg, but now we do more comebacks than Shahid Afridi in cricket, but we're not counting. It's just great to have him there.
More comebacks than Barbara Streisand's farewell tours that never seem to end.
Exactly. So that's become Tiger's thing. But because Tiger is Tiger, everybody wants to play in his tournament. Okay. So in Bermuda, you see all the best yachts are all parked off there.
Good place to do a tournament.
So, all the big names on the American side of golf are going to be playing there. So that'll be in the obviously smaller hours of the day. Brian Harman and Tony Finau are currently -5 leading that one. But then going back to the SA Open. So if you are in the Greater Gauteng area, Blair Athol's in just by Lanseria Airport.
Yeah, it's not far.
It's a really big tournament, of course, second oldest tournament in the world. And it's got all of SA's big golfers.
It used to be Gary Player's
Stud Farm.
So there's a reason to go.
And the SA Open used to be Gary Player's tournament. He won it 13 times.
Really? Did he tell you that he won it how many times?
He didn't.
Yes. Everybody knows.
He won it 13 times, Gareth. He also won the Australian Open 13 times.
I saw Gary at the Sun City at the Nedbank Golf Challenge. He is handed over the trophy.
He is the life and soul, the everything.
How old's Gary now?
86, 87.
How many push-ups a morning?
Doesn't count anymore.
So I'd forgotten that Gary met my nephew once. We were in the Karoo at a friend's birthday party near Garib Dam. And Gary and his family pulled in, or Gary and his friends. I don't know who was there. But he went up and he said, "That's a nice kid." He was very happy with him. Why? Because he wasn't fat.
Yes, exactly.
Because I saw. No,
the bar is so low.
You're laughing. No, Gary will go up to the parents of a fat child and say, "What are you doing to your child?"
This man once slapped a hamburger out of a fat kid's hand.
Yes.
In public.
Yes.
Not because he was being mean, it's because he was trying to save him.
Yeah.
And then scolded the parents.
I'm sorry, but your child is too fat.
Because Gary wants us to be happy like him. That's the thing.
Yeah. Gary's great.
He is. He's amazing. And SA Open this weekend. If you are in the area, get on down there. Joachim Lagergren.
Who?
Joachim Lagergren.
Sure.
I didn't mess that up. He's -7 currently. Casey Jarvis, young South African, -6. And then Jovan Rabula, he's -5. So it's an incredibly big, challenging golf course here. So last year, I feel like the winning score was far too high. And I think Gary actually shat on the people. It's like, look here. Score. There's too many birdies. It's too easy. So I wouldn't be surprised if they trick this course up just a little bit more. And I think the winning score will be a little bit less. Definitely the cut score, I think, will be a little bit less. But it's such a great golf course. So if you are into it.
What, do they plant tall trees in the middle of the fairway?
No, like what happens is, okay, I know this because
I know they move the ball around, the hole around in the green itself to make it a little bit, to make it a little bit more difficult. What else can they do?
So, like last month, I interviewed the greenskeeper for an article of Blair Athol. And basically what happens, and it's no secret, the DP World Tour, because it's co-sanctioned with the DP World Tour, from like 6 or 7 months out, somebody will rock up here every single month and check on the course. They do like a little check.
They inspect.
They inspect what's going on. Because
imagine flying people, and it's probably more than one person.
Well, it's a global team that goes around all the tournaments, right?
Imagine though you fly them in. They probably want to be flown business class.
No, I don't think that. It's not like that.
Oh, okay.
It's not a wine.
So even though we've got Saudi money here, we're not going to waste it.
But it's just so interesting because when it comes tournament time, the golf course has to play in a certain way. So some holes, if we go play this socially, it'll look a little bit different. Like some of the fairways are cut in, so your landing areas are tighter. Yeah. So there's more premium on accuracy than distance.
Okay.
The pin placements, they'll obviously assess that to where they get the most incredibly difficult spot to put a pin to get to. And then, I mean, this is the beautiful thing about golf. It's all these different layers that get into it. It's not just that one well-dressed guy beats that well-dressed guy.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting SA Open. It's a great golf course, and that will pretty much wrap it up for this weekend of sport. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You got lots
Very
of
good.
cricket, lots of golf, and you got some football. And
Well,
anything
that's-
else, enjoy.
That's perfect. Ben's sport is unlike any other sport you'll ever hear anywhere. It's unbelievable. If TV sport was as good as this, people would actually watch it. Beyond the Scoreboard with Ben, powered by Super Bets this morning, and loads of stuff on the agenda for the weekend. So Tracy wants to know, has anybody seen the documentary that Rian van Heerden did on Derek Hoogaard? Liefling, right?
I have not yet, but
Sure.
I imagine that's...
Tracy said it's quite heartbreaking at times. What a story done so beautifully by Rian. So I haven't seen it, but I know Rian, and I was at his birthday a little while ago, and he told me about it. He said he's actually friends with Derek Hoogaard, and the guy went into a bit of a tailspin after his career in rugby ended and after his divorce went through. And he got addicted to sleeping pills.
Yeah.
And it's apparently just the most heart-wrenching story. So I'm glad that Tracy brought it up because I was meant to talk about this. And while we're talking about that, because that's obviously on, I think, CakeNet must be, because I think that's where Rian does a lot of his shows. But one of the shows that I heard about just this week from somebody, which I didn't know about before, and I love the idea, is this show about South African towns.
Mhm.
And one of the big sponsors, I'm not sure who it is, I think it's Lotto Land or something, they've got a town that they give money to.
Sure.
You know, and a substantial amount of money, like $500,000 or whatever. And then the people of that town get to fix up the things that are not working. Because our towns are in a terrible state in South
Wow.
Africa. Our local municipalities are falling apart. Most of them are corrupt. Most of them are insolvent. The local government guys are like the lowest form of politician because all the better ones, in inverted commas, go up to provincial or national government. So the municipalities themselves are left with the absolute trash, like the real low-rung, very ineffective. These are low output people, cadre deployment at its worst, right? And they just ruin these little towns. So this show is about these towns that are basically revitalized with money from this company. And then they repair the roads, or they fix up the street signs, or they tidy up the little central square, or the statues in the town, or whatever. And I think that's just such a positive thing. It blew my mind that there is money being put to good work and
Love
to
it.
good use. I think that's just so awesome.
One of my favorite
Makes me
things.
happy.
One of my favorite things about December is just road tripping and going to small towns. This year, I'm not doing it for the first time in a while, but it's just something so incredible. Like they all have their own sort of personality, and it does suck that there's no resources. All the life's kind of falling out of them. But all these towns have incredible history as well. Like there's a reason
You
why
told
they were
us
built.
about Mikey'sfontein, for
Yeah,
example.
I mean, that's just a very obvious one, but there's a reason why these towns were built back in the day. It wasn't just like, okay, well, we've got some spare bricks and these people have no friends. These towns all had reason. And if you go back into that history, it's really a beautiful thing.
Well, somebody wants to know in the comments whether I got to watch the realtor show with the prostitutes. I did not.
Oh, that Selling Sunset.
Ben gave us the best review last week
I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago now.
on the prostitutes who sell houses in like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Unfucking believable. It's on my agenda. I just have to watch.
You just need to watch 5 or 10 minutes.
No, the nice thing about TV these days is you don't have to watch it live. You record it.
Get a couple of snippets.
Yeah, and you can go and set that recording thing, and then before you know it, it's on prostitutes.
Or I'm sure
selling
you
houses
could even
or
just
whatever.
you can just get a taste on YouTube. Everything's on YouTube.
Yeah, that's also true.
Packaged on
But the
YouTube.
quality might not be great.
Yeah, you actually need to
Yeah, it's worth watching the show.
to the credits of these Makoshas, you need to see them in HD because there is a lot of work that goes into this whole thing.
The credits of them.
There is so much that goes into it. Yeah,
That's
you're right.
another T-shirt. To the credits of these machoshas. ... By the way, unionized machoshas is that we're going to make those T-shirts in January.
It's about time.
We've
I think
lined it up.
It's about time.
I've checked the quality of the produce. I was wearing a Cliff Central hoodie yesterday. You would have seen it, Simpue. And they sent, so we're going to be making some stuff next year. So if you're interested in that, your time has come, my friends.
Very nice.
Yes. And unionize the machoshas will be our first T-shirts. Superior won't wear one. She
I
says
will
no.
definitely not
I
wear
asked her
one.
yesterday. I said to her, "Will you wear a Unionize the Machoshas t-shirt?" And she was like, "No."
No.
Well, also,
no.
we're going into election year when people are going to be making big claims. So I think it'd be a great shirt for that.
Unionize the Machoshas. Okay, so some other comments. Lol, I've only been in Oz and South Africa. I can see why people say SuperSport is the best in the world. Well, they do a damn fine job of
Yes,
bringing
they do.
people live
Yes.
sport. They really do.
The commentary,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Love it. Yes.
Like-
Yeah. Proper enthusiasm going on there. And well done to them. They
Yes.
kind of cornered the market on that.
They have.
Because Ricky was complaining earlier that apparently I do miss SuperSport. In Oz, I have separate subscriptions for everything.
That's
so much
most of
money.
the world,
Very
unfortunately.
irritating.
That's the world.
Sure.
So much money. Yo.
Okay. Tracy says Gareth needs to have a trip through the Karoo. So much history there. Seriously, Gareth, get your ass there. Okay. All right. Calm down.
Sure.
No need for that. We've got to go to a break. We'll be back in just a moment or two. Stick around, cliffcentral.com. We got a lot more coming at you, including George Meany and Auto Trader a little bit later on. And it's Friday and it's the 1st of December. And if you're not happy on this particular Friday, I don't know what it's going to take to make you happy. I don't know what we've got to do. Put you in an ozone chamber like Meows's.
Every time you listen to that 80s show, Tom Cruise lives another 10 years. Every Friday on cliffcentral.com, Paolo and Dory review movies, reminisce about old songs, remember childhood places that are now car parks, and say some outrageously rude things about Patrick Swayze's brother. That 80s show, new episode every Friday, live or as a podcast on cliffcentral.com.
Hey, this is Macy Gray. You are listening to Celeb Savant with Barrett Edelstein.
Louise Carver,
Thank you for having me. It's lovely.
Bars and Melody.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. Some really good questions. Usually they're boring.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Usually interviews are boring. This one got me going.
Perez Hilton.
They would call me Web Celeb, which I actually want that to make a comeback. I think that's cute. Web Celeb.
Hey, Barrett Edelstein here, host of the Celeb Savant podcast. You can find it every Friday morning at 9 o'clock, only on cliffcentral.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
All right, so Ryan's very impressed with himself, and I think he deserves a round of applause. He put some Christmas music into the break
Love
there.
it.
Nice. So
I
well
saw
done.
a Christmas
Very
hat
good,
on
very good.
the clock.
I know, yes. There's Christmas stuff happening. It's all happening. And it's the time that you could start doing that stuff without feeling embarrassed. Those people who put up their Christmas decorations and trees in November, I have a problem with you. You're too eager and you're going to burn out before you've hit your stride.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Christmas will come and you'll be over it. So you've got to time it right. I've said this before. It may be very traditional. I don't know what the origin of this is, but you must do 12 days before Christmas and 12 days after, and that's it.
Yes.
You can start with the
Retail
music and like this. No, today's the day you start.
With putting up the Christmas, because I think they're also the problem. In fact, they are the problem.
Well,
because
they are.
like just down the road from here, Sandton City started in October with this massive Christmas tree, and I'm just like, Hebanan, like stop. The year has not come to an end yet.
Absolutely.
So
I saw Machosha's on Oxford Road offering Christmas specials already.
As soon as they start wearing Christmas hats, I think it's on. That's it. They're such social barometers for us. They really are.
Oh, they come up every week on the show. It's like the Bajaj used to come up every week on the show. Ben still sends pictures on his Instagram to everybody of Bajajes when he sees them.
Every now and again,
I love it. I'm so tempted. Yeah, I'm so tempted in traffic to take a picture. And sometimes you can't because it's like not a good idea to be on your phone while you're at the stop street or whatever. Yeah. But I see them all over, and the first thing I want to do for some bizarre reason is take a picture or a movie of the Bajaj.
Well, I mean, you see them in different places. You obviously see them struggling up hills. That's not a good time to take a photo of it.
No.
But then
are they like on 2-stroke engines, like a lawnmower?
I'm pretty sure they're still.
They must be, right?
It's like one of those Flintstones. I think the guy's still running underneath. But every now and again, in the afternoon on the way home, I drive past the big glass Discovery building, and then the Bajaj will be at the. So it's this beautiful contrast between this amazing building, this feat of excellence, and then there's this Bajaj when the sun's kind of behind, carry up Santon Drive. So I've posted that particular picture a couple of times.
You need that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Can I just say, so I see them on the road.
Yeah.
And then like a few days ago, I was at the garage filling up, and right behind me is a Bajaj. I'm like, hey, man, these things put petrol.
What did you think they put in oil?
And then the petrol attendant is like, yes, like, they come in here like every hour. I'm like, yo,
because they got like a 5-liter tank.
It's like you can fill them up with a Coke bottle.
I was like, I don't know what they were running on, but I did not think petrol. They just no.
I like the way St. P was almost insulted that it should be behind her at the petrol station.
Yeah, like don't you guys have can't you like in Thailand when you ride around on a bike, you just stop on the side of the road and a guy gives you a bottle of petrol.
Yeah,
I was kind of hoping that would be their system.
I don't know why. I don't know why in my mind I didn't clock that it was petrol until that moment where I was like, oh yeah, this is a car going to like.
I always enjoy the look on the passenger's face because they're thinking, am I sitting in the back or am I sitting in the front?
And they're kind of halfway. You're not really sure, and it's embarrassing. Like nobody except again Lebang, who doesn't mind taking a tuk-tuk some mornings.
Yeah,
right?
You see,
she's been dropped off here by a tuk-tuk a couple of times, but most people are a little bit embarrassed when a Bajaj picks them up.
Yeah,
I still haven't got close to doing it.
Ad B says that's a 250cc single cylinder scooter engine, apparently.
Oh. Okay.
Runs on wound up elastics.
Yeah.
Matthew says, I swear Ben owns a Bajaj and is trying to hype them up before he gets exposed.
Nah.
No, I'm afraid.
Look, put it this way. It'd be really funny if someone gets a Bajaj, right? Because they're all yellow.
I sort of want to get one just as a...
But if someone puts a different color, like what if someone makes a white and blue with racing stripes?
We could cheap and easy. We could do like a Cliff Central Bajaj easily. And I think it would be people would notice it. People are screaming out in the marketing world for a way to, I hate this term, break through the clutter, right? It's all you hear from these assholes in marketing. So if we bought a Bajaj and we made it like bright purple or something, it would stick out like a sore thumb. You would get way more attention than you should. In fact, I don't even know why we're debating this. We should just get someone in here and say, we'll do the branding.
Yes. And then the game is like spot that Bajaj,
Or we can let someone on the staff run this as a side hustle.
Hey man, if we're talking money, then I'm your girl Gareth. We can have this conversation offline.
Well, I just hashtag brand the Bajaj.
Yeah. And
Ad B says, Gareth, I would contribute 500 Rand to your Bajaj fund if you do it. You see, people are willing to spend.
But that's great. 500 Rand will be enough for a vinyl wrap of the whole thing.
Because it's about the size of it's
like a suitcase,
toy.
basically.
Yeah, there we go, suitcase. That's beautiful. All right, a couple of things we need to look at. So here's something we always look for ways to improve your life. Eating a banana for dinner could be the key to a good night's sleep, according to a charity specializing in sleep support.
That's what he said.
The Sleep Charity has increased its top 5 tips to get better sleep in 2024 with a fruit consumption list making the most important spot. It says bananas in particular can help you drift off due to their high levels of magnesium and potassium, which help to relax muscles.
Okay.
That's why people do those Epsom salt baths,
Yes.
by the way. It says bananas in particular are the best for this. They contain the amino acid tryptophan, which stimulates the production of brain-calming hormones. Fruit also encourages the production of melatonin, which we know from Dr. Mark yesterday on the show is a hormone that occurs naturally in the body and plays a big role in how well you sleep, your circadian rhythms. Grapes, tart cherries, and strawberries are the best sources of melatonin, according to a study published in a special issue of Antioxidants in Health and Disease. So maybe it works for you. You know, if you're not going to put your cat in an ozone tent that Ben is going to be bringing out shortly, or you're not going to be catching a lift in the Bajaj with Simpiwe, then you can try potassium from a banana.
Yeah, and that whole thing, magnesium too, definitely works.
And by the way, I think bananas are one of the few sources of potassium that are readily available. That's why it's a good thing to keep some in your house. Sometimes if you're peckish, just to have a banana might be exactly what your body's craving. Potassium is hard to find in other fruit sources and food sources. But it's also the only fruit. This is something I remember. I may have mentioned it, I don't know, 10 or 12 times already on the show. It's the only fruit you can survive on if you only had that fruit.
And if you look at it this way, like I'm quite worried about all the pesticides and all that other crap that goes with stuff.
Yeah.
Banana's in its own jacket.
That's right. That's right.
So there's
and you
less
discard
chance.
it.
Yes.
And the jacket's quite thick.
It's quite thick. So
it's not some piddly little skin on an apple that you rub on your shoe, on your pants.
I mean, I know that we get fed all kinds of poisons every single day.
Yes.
But I think a banana is a good enough bet with that.
Yes. And Neil says, my wife loves a banana at bedtime.
There we go, Neil.
Good.
Set up comedy. We're all doing it.
So George Meany has hopped in the comments. He'll be here on the show later because all the other cars would pass you in frustration if we get a Bajaj. But that's the point, George. You have longer exposure on the roads because you're slower.
Absolutely.
You don't want a fast car. If we had a branded Ferrari, you hardly see it. Gone.
Yeah. Everyone's moving around you the whole time.
Yeah, especially if it's in Santon. Everyone, it's not a Ferrari, it's a Lamborghini. You know, we see them all the time.
And by the way, George, we're still waiting for you. You said you would organize for us to at least see what it looks like on the inside of Bajaj. And now today is his last appearance on the show. George is going on holiday. So 2024.
You know what it actually is, Gareth? I reckon Bajaj are actually quite smug. So George can get any car, right?
He can.
I reckon they're like, this is George Meany for Auto Trader.
Nah.
We'll show him. Coming here thinking he can just waltz in and get a Bajaj.
And they've actually...
No, they're going to say no to him. Don't you know that?
They've blacklisted him, is what you're saying.
They're probably so smug. They're like, no, told you, there's demand for what we have here.
Right. Ruth says, I have major insomnia. I'm willing to try banana. Well, everybody has to try banana once, you know? And JP says, I heard kiwis are also good for sleep.
Okay.
Kiwi fruit, I should hope.
Accents are terrible, though.
I met a kiwi girl the other day.
Really?
Yeah, she's a lawyer. And she's quite pretty. She was quite smart. I was quite impressed with her.
She wasn't Australian.
No, I said to her, what are you doing in South Africa? So she said, no, she decided to move here because it's quite fun. So I thought, well, there's an interesting turnaround for the books. A lot of people in South Africa are trying to get to New Zealand, and New Zealanders are coming here. Guess what she does?
Well, she says
immigration law.
Yeah.
Immigration law, which is a bug.
So she's come here to extract
business.
To help extract people out of it.
Well, this is for her. This is what you call a target-rich environment, then, right?
So she can't actually be. So she moves here because it's fun, and she can't actually be upset about the crime because that's what gives her business.
Yeah, she's basically funding the crime for all we know. She's like, I like a bit of crime.
Yeah,
it's feeding more business.
It's absolutely good for her business.
Good for her. All right. So George is trying to make excuses here. I think you've hit a nerve with George, Ben. They would give it to me, but they wanted to vet the content before publishing.
They wanted to vet the content.
So they obviously have a spin doctor inside the Bajaj business.
Yeah. I mean, George has been diplomatic here. I think I was right.
I think how much are they? I mean, we should just buy one.
We can.
Honestly, it would be very handy.
We've already got 500 rand in the comments.
You know what? Jane could take it to go and buy groceries.
No, whoa. It's a Bajaj. It's not a tank.
And I don't.
Let's not throw fire to the wind here.
Just be careful, you two. She's listening.
I love Ash. I really do. But I don't think that lady would love that thing at all. She'll just be like, are you trying to give me a carrot? Like, she is definitely going to break that thing in 2 seconds.
All right,
she will, but it'd be great content. Like if Jerry Seinfeld can put people in sports cars and they drive around, which isn't that funny. Jane interviewing people in a Bajaj.
That would be
dynamite.
The best show on the internet.
As long as she's not driving.
No, she has.
Because she's the type of.
That'd be
I
such a
see
great
it.
show.
Like you say something wrong, and Jane's just like, get out the car.
She would just drop you in the middle of like a dangerous hood.
She's just like, one mistake, she's get out. Like, no.
And shout at you as you walk away from the Bajaj. Listen, I think we've spoken about this more than any other single subject this whole year.
Yeah.
If it was like Cliff Central rap, you'd have certain topics that come up.
Yeah. Correct. Have you got your Spotify rap this
I haven't
year
actually
yet?
opened it up. I was going to do it today.
I don't have Spotify.
It's going to be the same as last
so
year. How
I'm
do you
fine.
know? How do you know of Spotify?
I have it,
an
but
Apple product.
But I listen to most of my stuff on
Why?
Apple.
That's like saying I don't like DVDs.
You made a playlist for me on Spotify, which I occasionally go to, but I haven't added anything to it. I've been very lazy and remiss about
You
it.
did, and I deleted those songs because the vibe wasn't right. I mean, we're trying to have fun here, and you're putting in like Depro 70s rock in the
I
mix.
must have been in a bad mood that day. I don't know. You deleted them?
Yes.
So much for a shared playlist.
Well, I mean, if
You didn't notice.
I didn't even notice. No.
it's like having a dinner party and someone rocks up with like pitted olives and like hummus. You're gonna put that to the side. Come in here with your suggestions.
Put it to the side.
Yeah, that's what I did in the interest of both of our moods.
Oh man! All right, just quickly because you're leaving just now.
I have to go, unfortunately. Yeah.
So you, I thought we'd exhausted all the possible lines of conversation around load shedding, but it suddenly came back this week with a vengeance, proving yet again that nobody there knows what they're doing.
Never have.
It's all totally made up on the spot. There's some guy who I think blindfolds himself and throws darts at a dartboard and then decides to switch off and on according to whatever he scores on the dartboard. It seems that random. Like, the idea of if you put enough monkeys at typewriters, eventually one of them will type out the works of Shakespeare. It might take thousands of years, but that's what they say, right?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
So it's the law of randomization or whatever it is. There's got to be some kind of randomization, entropy, weird, terminal, unstoppable grinding to a halt of all thinking inside of ESCOM because nobody seems to understand how this stuff happens. This week when we started the week, there was none.
Yes.
Then it jumped immediately to stage 6.
Oh.
Like no warning at all. That's like your husband in your 60s getting home from work with an erection and you're not prepared.
Exactly.
It's just completely unacceptable. You would at least expect him to take the Viagra and give you a couple of minutes to get ready.
No.
As the wife, you just, all right. So they jumped to stage 6, then they went to 4, then back to 6. Then I got a message just now that it's jumped down to 3 or now it's at 2. I have no idea. I really don't know where we're at. And Ben has a question. I thought we talked about everything that was possible to talk about here, but he has a serious question.
I really do.
Yeah.
Because load shedding is about capacity, right?
Right.
They don't have capacity to support the demand. Therefore, we have shutdowns and these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But as South Africans, do you actually go about your day going, I'm going to use less electricity today. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to not use things like I used to.
No. I've tried to save money. So I've done this one really, I feel a bit schnorrer about this because I'm not a miserly, mean person. Like the stereotypical Scot or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I do it with the waste money, that sort of thing. But I've got this timer because they put these timers on my geysers and it can be controlled on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So I could switch off and on the geyser as I like, and I can put a timer on it. So it only goes on for an hour or 2 a day or whatever. Some people tell me it's a waste of time because starting it up is the most expensive thing. And if you switch it off and on, it's going to be more expensive. I don't know. I'm trying it. So I'm giving it a go, giving it a fair chance. I can control this on here, and I do try. Like I'm trying to actively save on electricity, not because I care about Eskom and their supply issues, but because I want to reduce my consumption so I pay less to these sons of bitches.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's what it comes back to. Like, I reckon that's the only reason. It's not to help Eskom, but it's like, how do we actually use less? Because that's just a better way of living, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You would think so.
Potentially.
You would think so.
But then you think, what does that entail? Now, do you go and physically turn the thing off at the socket? Because that's a ball ache.
No.
Yes, I do that. I'm like, I'm not using this plug, so switch it off.
At
And
the wall. It's
at the
off.
wall.
Okay.
But that's out of habit. It's not even like.
Okay, but you're wasting your time with a light, for example. It's not going to make a difference. There are two
But
things.
it's just everything else that you plug
But
into.
like 10 million people over a year with that light makes a difference.
But that's a huge scale, and I don't think it makes even a blip on the radar when you do that. So there are two things in your house that use an enormous amount of electricity, maybe three. The first one being your geysers.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's major power, and if you've got solar geysers, then that's already a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is your pool pump. If you have one of those, that's big electricity. So if you leave that thing on and it's not on a timer, and I mean, I actually switch mine off at the switchboard because that's easier than going out to the filter and switching it on and off the whole time. But that's a big one. And then the third one is like stoves and kettles and things, but those don't really come in because you don't leave them on the whole time.
Yeah. Or like a fridge has to be on the whole time, right?
But I mean, there's this famous story about how the Queen, who had money for, thousands of generations of her family, let alone she's got castles and palaces and things. The Queen, who died, used to go around and switch off lights around the palace. Now, you could say that's very schnorrer. It's a bit
also
mean.
Just gave her something to do.
Maybe it gave her something. Maybe she didn't have enough to do. Who knows? But she used to go around and switch things off. So it might not be the most stupid behavior.
Well,
if it's good enough for someone with a crown worth millions and millions of pounds,
that's all I'm saying.
Then who the hell are you to argue?
I mean,
switch
if we
off
can
those
make
lights.
Small differences. I still think that recycling is mostly that's a bit of a myth and a lie.
Well, here's Carl. He says, we replaced every light tube in the office from fluorescent to LED. Cost us 40K, not even our building. He does say it saved them 60% of their electricity bill. So that's good news. All right.
Yes.
Over and above load shitting, then the municipality app also crashed, so you couldn't even buy power if you tried, says Neil. Ay, ay, ay.
Oh, yeah, like that's
Someone said in the comments just now, just before you go, Ben, they don't have Bajajes in Cape Town.
Ooh, are
Darren
they that
says there are
bougie?
no Bajajes in Cape Town.
Are they there?
Yeah, but we spoke about this because it's windy there.
Well, they blow over. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, very good. George says, finally, you are saving 1.25 cents per hour per light bulb, to Garrett's point. Well, that's okay. That makes a bit of sense then.
Gotta switch it
Makes
off.
sense as in CENT.
Yeah, it makes sense over like a big scale. Again, it's just I'm curious.
Okay.
Just trying to be better.
Are you trying to do this?
I would like to think that there's maybe, because what's always going to be around? Dumb politicians and load shedding. These folks aren't getting us out of here, unfortunately. So that's a constant. So we can't control that, but what can we do to make them less an impact? As an adult, you always got to look at these equations.
Yeah, but people are definitely not going to go about it like, I'm trying to save planet Earth. No, I'm just trying to save a buck.
I'm not trying to save planet Earth or the buck, really. I just want to have less load shedding.
Well, Terrence says that I'm being an idiot because I stopped switching off the geyser. I haven't seen a difference in my electricity bill. So maybe it's a complete
This is what we do
waste
as a
of time.
community, right? This is what we do as people. We trial and error these
All
things.
right. Well, thanks, Ben. We'll see you next week. Have an excellent birthday tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to.
Enjoy the
Very excited about
stretching.
that. Yeah.
Enjoy the stretching and the golf, and
And
then
there's something bright tomorrow.
the massage afterwards. Yeah, wear the clothes that those people in the 70s video wore.
I often wear lots of color.
Yeah, but like tomorrow, be intentional about it.
Jesus, there's some solid advice from Cynthia. She's not taking any prisoners. Thank you. Don't go. All right, cheers, Ben.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Derek.
All right. So we've had her on before, and she was a wild hit, a runaway hit with everybody in the audience. They wanted more. And
Ooh.
I've kept her on hold for a long time because she's got like 23 children and she's
Oh,
super
another
fucking
Lebang.
busy. Yeah, she and Lebang have the most children of any women I've ever met in my own life. And I know that there used to be these women, I don't know, in medieval times, used to have like 10 kids and 20 kids. And I don't know, the kids all raise each other, they say.
Yeah.
But she's been a friend of mine since high school. And here she is. Katherine is on the line. Katherine, who we've had on before. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Good. How many children are we at the moment? No more since we last spoke.
Heck no, I've closed the factory. I've surgically closed the factory. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm at 5.
Yeah. and the youngest is how old?
She's 8. And the oldest is 16.
So no, all right. No, then they definitely, that was a good 8 years of your life.
Yeah, it's more like 10. I was pregnant for about, 48 months of my life. And the other day I went to the blood bank and they were like, why is there this big gap in your donation time? Like a decade. And I said I was either pregnant or breastfeeding for like 10 years. I was a bovine for about a decade of my life. That's it. So
you're a factory for the children.
I've also wondered about this. When you gestate a baby, you're basically making them out of ingredients from your body. Because I remember with my 5th child, the doctor said she's a little underweight, but don't worry about it. And I said, should I maybe just eat more? And he gave me this old-fashioned look, and he said, that's not how that works. But it occurs to me that's consistent. Like, I probably have bones like a bird. I should probably have that checked out.
Yes, because the children have been parasitizing you for all of your life, your adult life. All right, so listen, I like getting you on here because you bring up irritating shit that not just parents go through, but that everybody goes through. And I often get these messages from you which make me laugh, like voice notes about people who annoy you at work or things that are going on with the school moms and the groups that you're on, like those WhatsApp groups, because I don't have any personal experience of that stuff. So when I hear that like all the moms are in a WhatsApp group for the school, it gives me an instant headache, and I can't imagine the kind of stupid nonsense that gets posted on there.
I'm telling you now, it is in the first place, you get some real nut jobs. I can only say that modern parenting is basically like a religion, and there are certain things now that that are like a heresy. You know what I mean? So you know how through the year, and this is one thing I have to just add the disclaimer here that I love my children very much. So whatever I'm about to say, just be aware I love them.
Yeah.
And also that I love and admire the hardworking teaching community. And I also very much love my husband and my in-laws. So whatever I'm about to say, please just bear that part in mind. So the one thing that really gets me is it starts to kind of unravel towards the end of the year. And let's be fair, we've all kind of had enough. I honestly feel as though we could have done like 3 weeks this year. I would have been perfectly happy if tomorrow was like Christmas Eve, because and it's all kind of coming apart, and you see how your standards go down. In the beginning of the year, you're packing lunch boxes with grapes and like beautiful like little cheese sandwiches, all nicely cut in shapes and shit. This morning I chucked an apple and like a packet of biscuits. I didn't even put them in the lunch boxes. I just chucked them into their bag. And then my kids get in the car, and my youngest looks like she brushed her hair with a balloon, and my son looks like he went and rolled around in the road with his jacket. I'm like, when last did your jacket go in the wash? And he's like, I don't do that. I don't put my jacket in the wash. I'm like, I can tell. You look like something out of a Dickens novel. And it's fine. You just drop them for school. You don't even care what the teachers think at this stage. It's like it's all kind of coming apart. And of course, there's all of these events. And this is where the WhatsApp groups come in. Some flippin' proactive, upwardly mobile person decides they're going to organize a do. It's going to be a do at the school or a do for work or whatever. And now you've got to bring a plate of eats. Now, among all the other shit you've got to try and get sorted out to the end of the year, now there's like 4 or 5 things. And, in the old days, it was just called a plate of eats. You went and bought some Lamingtons, or you made some sausage rolls or something, and you bunged them on a plate and you rocked up with your bottle of wine. Now it's called a charcuterie board. So every year I have to learn how to pronounce charcuterie. And let me tell you something, that's not just a bunch of sausage rolls on a plate. Now I've got to go and now I've got to basically my eyes pop out of my head as I figure out what the price of like Parmesan cheese is, or flipping, I don't know, shaved ass ham. Now I've got to arrange it all beautifully. And I can't even put deviled eggs on there anymore because deviled eggs are the price of, I don't know, are they saffron flavored? And this is just one tiny thing that is going on right now in everybody's lives.
I don't even think you got charcuterie right there. I think you said char,
right?
But okay.
Did I say char? Yeah, exactly.
You did.
I don't even. And why do we do it? Why do we do this? Why do we go to these functions? Why?
I'm always amazed by how much unnecessary competition parents of kids are involved in because of the school, and it's not the teacher's fault; it's the other parents, and they seem to be. It's their way of kind of gaming the system. It's like one-upmanship. It's like, well, I don't have a lot to live for, but if I can make other parents feel inadequate by creating some new hierarchy, I will get some tiny little bit of joy in my otherwise dreary and dull existence. And then they make these hoops that you have to jump through. I see it with everybody I know who's got kids. It's not just you.
I can tell you now, there's absolutely no question. And look, these are definitely, I don't want to say it's just the stay-at-home moms, because you do once again get these A-type personalities. And I don't know how they do it. I love my sister, but she may be one of these people. She works full-time. She's also got 5 kids. And she's like putting together these incredible do's. And she always looks, and here's the other thing, when you go to these things, now you want to kind of dress in a way that makes you look less fat, even though you aren't less fat. And you want to look like you're succeeding in life. You don't want to look like you ugly cried all night in the laundry with a bottle of Nederburg Baron. So now you're slapping on makeup and you're trying to find some sort of appropriate outfits for these things. And I think this is the other thing. It's other women. You're absolutely right. It's mainly other women who judge women, And it's not, I have a lot of supportive women in my life. But trust me, if I saw other people's kids look the way my kids did yesterday when they got out of the car, I would have been secretly judging. And I don't know if you can switch it off.
No.
I would have been like,
what you're saying is spot on. And listen, your credentials are you're one of my most left-wing friends. I've known you a long time. You're very left-wing. You're very feminist. You're very into the kind of they, them stuff. You really do tick all of those boxes. So you're very 21st century in that way, or too progressive, or like a complete left-wing nutcase. All three, probably. But I think what people love is the fact that you can be honest about this. You did put the proviso up front about how you love your kids and you love your husband and all of that stuff, just in case someone's going to say, oh, well, she's a bad person. But I can't help referring to this thing that Simpiwe and I were talking about at the beginning of the show today, and I want to hear your comments on this, Katherine, is what Elon Musk said in that MSNBC interview. He's sick of people who are so desperate to look like they're good people, but they actually do evil things. And there's so many examples of that all around us every single day. Like these really nasty, competitive people who try to put everyone else down, who are doing truly awful things to each other, and then go on the internet and post like inspirational quotes. It drives me up the wall. I'm totally with him.
I've got it. This is one thing. And you know what? It's the small things. It's the small pettinesses. It's the passive aggressive stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like where a parent won't ask you why. In the first place, they won't get your opinion. A parent won't message you directly and say there was a scuffle and your child stood on my child's glasses. What they will do is they will go onto like a group chat and like bring in like the headmaster or something and say, you need to replace my child's glasses. They costed 800 Rand. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of this kind of small pettinesses. And at the same time, you sort of accept, okay, things cost money. Maybe my kid was a dick. I'm not always there. And children are profoundly, like, they have underdeveloped prefrontal cortexes. So children do unbelievably stupid things. And they make unbelievably irrational decisions all the time. It doesn't matter. Like, And you've got to keep contextualizing. They've got no critical thinking skills. So if you tell them don't throw rocks, someone could get hurt. Don't throw. You come out and now your kid's throwing a rock, and you go, literally, I just spoke to you about this, and they'll go, this isn't a rock, this is quartz. Okay, don't throw quartz. Or like literally, why are you licking the window? Why are you busy licking the window right now? I'm trying to at least look like a normal, well-adjusted mom here. And I'm in a meeting with the teacher, and you're outside with your face squashed up along the path. And this sort of crap happens all the time. So you're kind of, in a way, yes, to be fair, you want to show your best side. But for the most part, I think most parents, it's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of guilt involved in parenting. I think women get it a bit more than men, but men are more involved in parenting nowadays. So there's you're constantly questioning yourself. You're wondering, am I currently doing something that's going to fuck up my kid for life? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just told them that what they did was unbelievably stupid. Are they going to have a low self-esteem now when as they grow up?
And woke modern parenting. I mean, there are so many people telling you how to do your job, and there isn't a perfect guidebook that if you follow it from chapter 1 to chapter 10, you're just going to have the most brilliant children. It's a total random clusterfuck with every possible potential.
It's a genetic crapshoot, because your children are not little versions of you. They have something like 850 genetic markers that come from your idiot ancestors, and not just yours, your partners. Which means you have absolutely no control over the personality, the discipline, the habits, the tastes, anything that this little person is going to turn out to be. Literally all you can do is guide, but you're doing it under the spotlight of your siblings and your mom, your parents, your friends. You know what I mean? And you know what really augments that? What really, really puts that under a microscope is if you go on holiday to your parents' house. So I have two things to say about this. I love my family. I'm very lucky. I hit the jackpot. I have really lovely in-laws. But I just want to state this for the record. Visiting family is not the same as a holiday. I just want to make that 100% clear. And obviously, we're at this age now where our parents have moved to lovely locations, and it's cheaper, right? If you've got a parent who lives by the ocean, it makes a lot more sense to go down for your holidays. And of course, they want to see the grandkids. So it all seems perfect. It seems ideal. It isn't. It isn't ideal, and you mustn't do it. I want to tell every parent this Christmas, decide and do a staycation. Go buy a box of today's sausage rolls. Forget about the charcuterie board. Literally, sit on the couch and drink sherry, listen to flippin' Michael Bublé, whatever makes you happy, and throw Mari biscuits at the kids. And when they ask for Christmas, you know what you do? You go volume over matter. You go to the crazy store and you buy 20 little cheap things for each of them, and you wrap them up so that they can spend half an hour unwrapping them on Christmas morning. And you tell them, my gift to you this Christmas is the fact that you're still alive and that I got you through the year.
I think this is the best parenting advice I've ever heard in my life. All right, so what about Christmas? Christmas you've kind of covered, but birthday parties, because these have become extravagant beyond belief. I have a friend who, this is someone they know, and I'm not trying to obfuscate this. If I knew this person, I promise you I'd mention them by name. But they did a gender reveal the other day, which was so expensive that apparently it cost something like 50 or 60,000 rand for a gender reveal.
Well, that's nothing.
Okay.
Gary.
Oh, is that nothing? Okay. Well, I think that is the most outrageous waste of money ever.
I can completely believe this. And this goes hand in hand with the whole parenting being a religion now. And I 100% blame Pinterest.com. This is Pinterest.com's fault. And there's absolutely, and I'll tell you why. Because Pinterest is this platform that shows you this ideal of what life should be like. So if you go into Pinterest and you type in gender reveal party, you're going to get curated photographs of what looks like the most incredible moment of everybody's life. And so what do? You go and shell out money to try and copy this perfect ideal thing.
Yes.
And it's the same with small children's parties. People are throwing parties for 1-year-olds, and then they invite like all the adults for some reason. Like in my day, a children's party, and I know I'm sounding like an old person now. In my day, a children's party was you went, there was cake, and you gorged on sweets, and you maybe had a swim or something, and you went
and
home.
Syrupy drinks of many colors, and then you inevitably, like a fight, there would be someone would cry, and then everyone would go home.
Somebody wanted to take their toy away. Yes, you had your Jannie verjaarsdag, and you would eat until you felt literally sick. And you had to stock up because you knew you weren't going to.
And there'd be vomit. There'd be sweet vomit.
Oh yes. Oh, anyway.
Right,
nowadays it's like bunting. We're talking about, it looks like a wedding setting, man. It's bunting all over the place. There's a color scheme, and I fell prey to this. And when I only had 2 kids, I had the time and energy and bandwidth to like create, color-coded birthday parties and things.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why, for some reason now, maybe it's because I have more friends, middle-aged friends who don't have children. So it feels as though inviting them to the kids' party is sort of your way of letting them into this sort of family atmos or something. But for the most part, you're almost spending more money on wine and adult treats. My favorite was an invite I saw from some people who'd obviously had enough. They'd obviously had the shits and they'd had enough. And on this invite, it said, parents may come, but please bring your own cooler box. I'm not feeding children's parents. And I looked at, this was written on the invitation. And that was hard. I sort of thought, at the very least, have like a pot of tea and a milk tart or something, man. But that is, now you're sitting and you have to entertain these randos for like the 2 hours. Well, why is that necessary? Once a kid turns 7 or 8, you do not have to sit at a party with them anymore. They're certainly not going to care if you're there.
And also, these are not people you've chosen to be friends with. They are your children's friends' parents. That's too many degrees of separation for you to have to cater for them.
I once met, and it was at sort of a party. It was a kind of a play date thing, but the kids were quite a bit older. They were 11 and 12 or something. And my kids had organized that their kids come over. So this woman drops them off. She's the mother. She comes into the house. Like, I hadn't expected her to stay. She stayed for the next 3 hours. She stayed for the next 3 hours. It felt like 3 years. She went around the house and like inspected it. And then she kind of sat me down and she started asking questions about like, why do these kids share rooms? And literally it turned out that her daughter had given her the impression that I was like this weirdo hoarder mom type. And this woman had created the impression in her mind that she was going to come and like save my children. And the more we talked, the more she realized that I was a well-adjusted person, but like she wouldn't give it up. So she's sitting there and she's going, I really hate when mothers don't put decent nutritious food in their children's lunch boxes. They put in things like pizza slices and muffins, which was exactly what I put in their lunch boxes that week. And I remember sort of sitting there and I was like, and it was all I could do, not to basically grab this woman by the scruff and physically like, kick her ass out of my house. But it was astonishing. It was really, and I realized, and I said, this is the other issue. Not that I'm taking interviews anymore now at this late stage in life, but how do parents make friends? Because your children's friends' parents might be weirdos. You don't know. Yeah. You don't know them.
No.
And you, unless you're still in that stage of your life where you're going out and hanging around in pubs? Does anybody even bother going to clubs anymore?
No, I don't think there are any.
This is the thing. So you're kind of stuck with the 5 or 6 friends you made in your 20s, and that's it.
Shame. This is now. Shall I bring out the violins now, or do you want to keep them for later?
Oh, my little violin. No, but to be fair, no, I have to say, it has been an unbelievable. I do not know a single person who hasn't said that at some point in this year it's been a little bit garbage fiery. And I think
you're right. I was talking to someone just yesterday about the same thing. Load shedding's part of it, but I think this has just been a bit of a meh year for most people. And there's no escaping it. Like someone said to me they actually preferred 2020 with all of that COVID nonsense and, restrictions like we never had before, and people spinning out and losing their mental acuity and all that stuff. But in some ways, this has been a bit worse because the adjustment has been so difficult. At least COVID and 2020 was like an adventure. It was totally new.
This is exactly the thing. And I think the fact that our lives are never going to be the same.
No.
Once again, children, underdeveloped prefrontal cortexes, because in COVID, everything was all over the place and the kids were swimming every day. I didn't prioritize things like showering and bathing because we were all at home and they were swimming every day. The result is, this is like we're 2 years later, where I'm having to tell a kid, like I have to tell them, have you showered today? And they go, I showered yesterday. And me going, yeah, that's like a daily thing. Literally, this is news to them. How is this news to them? I don't know how to explain it. It's and this is, once again, I think it's actually a collection of things that parents have to deal with. We're not even going to talk about the sort of financial strain on the fact that you start doing December maths, which is, you're like, okay, if I take like a third of my December salary and spend it on Christmas stuff, it'll be okay because I'm gonna be like dieting in January, so I can spend less money on food in January. Like, and you're like, okay, because
December
also
maths.
now you're paying all of these registration fees and stuff now in November. So there's no chance in hell that you're going to manage to cover December with your November salary. It's not going to happen.
So JP says, I'm so keen to have children now. All right, but tell me about this, because it's something I asked Lebang the other day, and she's got 5 kids. So do you ever have a situation where, and you, as a mother, my mother never admitted it, but I have a suspicion that my brother, who's the middle child, is her favorite. You got to be really careful about that, though. Giving them all equal attention, and they're all different, so you have to look after all of them in a different way. I mean, so P-Way, you stay with us here. I know you don't have kids on the agenda for a while, but stay with us.
I can tell you one thing for sure. I really believe that the second born is almost always the favorite. I know for a fact my sister is, because
really?
they're just so, well, I'm saying I know for a fact. It's never been admitted, but let's be honest, Gareth, we know. And I think what it comes down to is the fact that they're less effort for your parents. You know what I mean? Any child at any stage in time that is my favorite, and it does rotate. I want to mention this. If they ask who's the favorite, I'll say I give you guys turns. And honestly, it is the child who is the least effort. It's the one who's giving me the least crap at any given time. That one's my favorite. So if I ask them, please go feed the dogs, and they go do that, that one's my favorite. Look at that A-type. Look at that little proactive kid over there. You know what? If you're whining and you keep coming to me and you're a little snitch and there's just non-stop asking for money and stuff, you're not going to be my favorite. And I know I was quite a drama llama as a teenager. I'm 100% sure I wasn't the favorite.
This is like you should do a parenting show every week here. I mean, I think that there would be like we could get like Baby City to sponsor it. I think it would be a huge success, because I'm just looking at the comments here, and people are like, "Oh, thank God, finally a mother who's honest."
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's great. All right, we've got George Meany on the line. George joins us every single week, and he is here, the CEO of Auto Trader. I believe you're going on holiday next week.
Hello, everybody. And well, I'm not going on holiday next week. I'm going to the COP28 summit in Dubai for the week. And then after that, I'm on holiday.
Very nice,
Not
George.
any boring, unnecessary kids' parties, unfortunately.
I can relate.
Maybe Dubai will be, I don't know how many kids are going to be on the airplane, because have you ever been on an airplane with a screaming kid?
And apparently, you know what the worst is? I was sitting next to a screaming kid a few years ago, and I asked them to please move me, and they said, you can't move away from your own child.
All right. Well, George, I mean, you're also a parent, George. Is Katherine not one of the most honest parents you've ever heard in your life?
Absolutely the most honest parent I've heard in my life. But Katherine, you have another challenge, and that is you've got more than one.
So George knows cars like the back of his hand, and he was talking to us the other day about like what the best people carriers are. When you have 5 children to drop at school and you have 5 children to take everywhere, plus their friends sometimes, you can only really have a Quantum.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right?
You buy a sports car and you tell the rest to walk.
Yes, or cycle. No, we
I used to ride bicycle to school when I was 13 years old. Where's that heard of today?
This is the one thing. The only reason I still have lovely looking legs is because I cycled to school and back in high school. That is the only reason, because I was certainly not sporty. And you know what's interesting though, and I'd like your take on this. We have a family of 7, obviously. So we have a 7-seater Mahindra, which is obviously made in India. It's made for bigger families. And the joy about Mahindra is it's made for rough, like weird terrain. And you can basically fix it with a stocking and a piece of string. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the way to go. Like, don't blow money on a Porsche SUV, please, because that's not, they will destroy the interior of your car also. So just accept that from the start.
Exactly.
All right. So, George, what do you got for us this morning?
Yes.
Well, and maybe a mom car can do this, but the world's highest mileage car. Guess how many kilometers this car has done. It was a Volvo P1800 in 1966. You won't believe the mileage that this car did.
Can you do over 1 million kilometers?
I was going to say like about 8. What?
Jesus, that's quite something.
5.1 million kilometers. So you were on the right track there, Gareth.
5.1 million. Where did that go to? Did they go from Cape Town to South Korea?
So this gentleman's name was Irv Gordon, and he bought a Volvo P1800 in 1966. In the first weekend that he had the car, he clocked up 2,414 kilometers. And over the lifetime of having the car, 5.1 million kilometers, he's only ever had 2 bad experiences with the car, and he's refurbished the engine once.
Yo.
Good Lord. Okay. All right, listen, Katherine, you got to go and do a bunch of things. So I'm going to let you hop off. We'll get you on again soon. People loved it, and thanks for joining us, and have a happy December.
Thank you, and you too. Avoid the December maths. Bye.
Yes, there we go. Some solid advice. So, George, do we have a picture of this car? Do we have a picture of the owner?
I think in fact we do.
Is it the red? Is it the red car?
A red car, that red sports Volvo P1800.
Wow. Okay, but that's actually quite a cool car. I thought it would be some horrible utilitarian thing with, I don't know, a really bad interior. I mean, this looks like quite a cute car. I think this is exciting.
It just shows you what can be done if you actually look after a car. Because this gentleman was pedantic about his car and clocked up 5.1 million kilometers.
I like him and I like his car. That's very good. Very, very good. George, someone in the comments wants to know, are you by any chance taking a private jet to get to COP28?
No, I'm not part of the cabinet, unfortunately. Well, fortunately.
Yeah, well, because most of the politicians who are going to COP28 will, of course, be complete hypocrites. So we're just checking that you're not.
No, I'll be flying with with the rest of the dogs and cats, inside a tube.
All right, don't sound so downcast about it, George. I mean, one day you'll be able to use your private jet. Okay, let's just talk about some other stuff that's going on before we get to our quiz, which I know Simpiwe is very, very excited about this morning. It's her chance to win. But what else is going on?
World's biggest car contains an entire apartment. So this is a Hummer H1, world's biggest car. It actually drives. So I think you do have a picture of it there, Gareth. Hummer H1. And
no, but George, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit on a road because this is an abnormal vehicle, right? So it would take up both lanes, probably even more than both lanes on most roads.
Yes, it would. I mean, it wasn't designed. It wasn't designed to drive every day. Although it can, it was designed as an apartment. So this couple is so much into their Hummer that they decided to turn it into a place to live.
And George, this is not a car you could buy on Auto Trader. This is a specially made, specially designed, custom thing. Okay,
correct.
All right.
There's a picture of an actual Hummer versus the built one.
I mean, who knows? They might, if they did want to sell it, they'd probably go to Auto Trader with it. But for the purposes of our discussion here, this is an enormous, enormous car. So you say there's an apartment in there?
There's an apartment in there. One tire on this car costs 470,000 rand.
So it's
someone's bond.
It's not for poor people.
No.
Yeah.
Is this the engine? This is the control panel at the front of the car. This is the cockpit, so to speak.
That's the cockpit, so to speak, and that's where you drive the car.
Wow. Okay, I'm blown away. I didn't even know this was possible. That's all the space inside it. I mean, it does look like an apartment, and not a great apartment, but it does look like one inside.
Yeah, it's got a kitchen, it's got a lounge, it's got a sleeping area, top speed of 32 kilometers per hour. And in order to move that monstrosity, has to output 1,000 horsepower.
So I reckon fuel's probably pretty expensive too. To fill up your tank, it's probably a couple of buses full of fuel.
And I'm pretty sure you've got to get some abnormal load permission to even put that thing on the road.
Definitely. You'd need one of those cars in front with the light flashing on its roof.
Yeah, exactly. The one that everybody ignores, but that thing can drive straight over you.
You've blown my mind and Simpiwe's. Now we've got to really hit it rich so we can buy an apartment on wheels. I like it.
Yeah, ne?
Or one tire.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't even afford that one tire at the moment.
Okay, so we get on to trivia. I've made the trivia slightly different this week to keep it a little bit interesting. It's fastest fingers first, and it is true or false.
Yes, let's go.
Okay, I'm ready.
So let's go. True or false? The Ford Mustang was first introduced in 1962.
True.
True is the answer, yes. True or false? The electric cars use gasoline as their primary fuel source.
False.
False. There we go.
Thank you. 2 points to me. Let's just make it clear.
Yes.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
The Lamborghini company originally started by manufacturing tractors.
True.
True, yes, Mbiwe, there we go. One for you. True or false? The first mass-produced car was the Ford Model T.
True.
False.
True, yes. True or false? ABS, anti-locking braking system, helps prevent skidding during sudden braking.
I'm going to say true.
True, yes, the answer is true. True or false? The Bugatti Veyron held the title of the world's fastest production car.
Don't think so. False.
True.
True, yes, the answer is true. True or false? NASCAR.
5-1 so far. Hold on. 5-1. 5-1. She can't catch up, right?
No.
Well, I've got
let's
more
go.
questions, so she might just be one behind.
Let's go.
It's okay.
George, let's go. Don't listen to Gareth.
True or false? NASCAR stands for the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing.
True.
True, yes. True or false? The hybrid Toyota Prius was first introduced in the 1990s.
True.
Yeah.
Well, should we give that one to Simpiwe because the answer is false?
False.
Okay, give it to Simpiwe.
Why not? True or false? Four-wheel drive 4WD and all-wheel drive AWD are the same thing.
That's false, I think.
False is the right answer. And then final question. The Porsche 911 is a rear-engined sports car.
True.
No.
True. Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. I'm still in the game.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's not embarrassing. So as I read it, Simpiwe got 4. I got 5.
Thank you.
6. I got 6.
Yes. I like this one. Thank you, George. Yes.
All right. So George, you'll tell us what happens at the COP 28 conference, and good luck for that. Good luck for your holiday. But I suppose we'll catch up with you in the new year.
We will. I am I'm moderating one panel on electrification, and I am on 2 other panels on, well, mostly around EVs, obviously.
That's fantastic. Good. Represent.
I will indeed.
I love it. All right, George. Very, very impressive. And thank you very much for a great year. And we'll see you in January.
Cheers, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and whatever you do, do it safely.
There we go. Sanela says, have fun, Borge. There we go. Excellent. All right, there he is, George Meany. And that brings us to the end of today's show. And the first day of December is well underway. Make sure you make it a month to count.
Yes.
And we will see you on Monday. Be good. Cheers, everybody. Bye.